What about the ROUSs?
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck tech straight out of Aether Drift Standard, and this time we're going back to rats. This one's called Rat Queen, because not only are we going back to rats, but we're splashing red specifically for Alesha, who laughs at fate, which is one of my pet cards. I absolutely love brewing around her, and I never really thought until recently to try to use her with rats, but she is perfect, bringing back all of our most valuable rats over and over and over again. It just gets absolutely absurd, and we've even got some new cards from Aether Drift in the mix, which are cards that are very easy to overlook just how good they can be in a rat tribal deck, and I'm really excited about this one. Before we break down the deck, please like the video. It helps me get it out to so many more people and helps the channel grow. I would appreciate it so much. Also subscribe so you never miss an upload. Tons of crazy content on the way, and catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Also, like the video and leave me a comment on what kind of deck you want to see me make in the future. If this video gets to 100 likes, whichever comment in the comments that has the most likes, I'll make that deck. And then I'll put it up, and I'll thank you, you know, in the deck tech and all that good stuff. So let me know what you want to see in the comments, and let's break down this deck. Alright, so this is Rat Queen, and the idea is we're going back to Rat Tribal with a few new cards, the most notable of which actually came in Foundations and not Aether Drift, although there are a couple Aether Drift cards in this deck. So, Alesha, who laughs at fate. This is a card that I really enjoy brewing around, and I've made a bunch of decks with already, but I realized how perfect she is for rats, and so we're splashing red to include her. Even though she's not a rat herself, she is a 2/2 first striking legendary creature for 3 mana in the colors of Rakdos. Whenever she attacks, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on her, but the real reason we want to run her is her raid ability. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked this turn, return target creature with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. We already want to swing every single turn so that we can bring back one of the other cards in this deck, which is Persistent Marshstalker, a 2 mana 3/1 that gets +1 power for each rat we control, and if we hit threshold, so we have 7 different cards in our graveyard, every time we attack with at least 1 rat, we get to pay 3 mana, pull it out of our graveyard, and have it tapped and attacking that turn, which is nuts. So we're basically doubling down on the Persistent Marshstalker synergies by also using Alesha, which kind of does the same thing, except for all of our creatures. We can do it for the Marshstalker before we end up getting to Threshold, before we have 7 cards in our graveyard, and we can do it for pretty much every other creature in the entire deck, even if we are past Threshold. We can bring out the Marshstalker itself with its own Threshold ability, and then afterwards, at the end of our turn, still bring back another rat from our graveyard with Alesha, and it just gets really insane. And we're also running 4 copies of the brand new Engine Rat because it works super well with both of these cards, utilizing the same kind of synergy. Now, when I first saw this card, I overlooked it a little bit. I was like, oh, it's the only new rat, but it's just a 1/1 death touching rat for 1. It's not that great, right? And it does have a mana sink ability where you can make your opponent lose 2 life, and that is nice as a little bit of extra value. But just this being a rat that only costs 1 that has death touch is super good, way better than I expected it to be, and it was super easy to overlook just how good it is, because that death touch ability means our opponent does not want to block this when we swing, which means we can swing in and trigger our Alesha, even trigger our Persistent Marshstalker when it's in the graveyard, get that value that we want to get from attacking and getting those triggers, but with a creature that they really don't want to block because of the death touch, and even if they do, we kill whatever blocks it, so we get extra value. So it just makes it way easier to swing in and get the value that we want out of both of those cards and get as much card advantage out of those cards as possible, which is really nice. And just also being able to have 12 1-drop rats in this deck instead of 8, because other than this we only have 8 typically, is also that much more crucial just for the numbers, just for being consistent and going as wide as possible. We're also running 4 copies of Nezumi Linkbreaker, which gives us a 1/1 token that isn't a rat when it dies, but still valuable, and a Gnawing Vermin, which helps us fill up the graveyard to get to Threshold for Persistent Marshstalker, or to just get stuff in there for Alesha to bring back, which is really nice. And also when it dies, we get to give something -1/-1, which is also really nice. So having those 12 1-drops is super important, but having 4 of them now be a 1-drop that counts as a rat but also has Death Touch is just nuts. We've also got in the 2-drop slot 4 copies of Tangled Colony, because if they block it and kill it, however much damage they do is how many rat tokens we make, which helps us to go super wide to make the Marshstalker that much bigger. But it also triggers some of the other cards in the deck, like Valley Rotcaller. We're running 3 of these, and it's super easy to get these back from the graveyard if we end up milling them away early. Just get them back with Alesha, and if we can get this in play and swing with it, making them lose X life and we gain X life, where X is the number of bats, rats, lizards, and squirrels, which is pretty much every creature in the deck other than Alesha, can be really, really strong if we're going super wide. And we can get super wide because we have those 12 1-drops now, as well as the Tangled Colonies. We also have 4 copies of Karumonix, which might be the most important card in the deck, because for 3 mana, not only do we get a 3/3 legendary rat that works with our rat synergies, but we get to look at the top 5 cards of our library, reveal any number of rat cards, and put the revealed cards into our hands. So since we have such a high density of rat creatures in this deck, we're almost always hitting 2, sometimes hitting 3 different cards that we get to gas up with, while putting a body in play that our opponent has to worry about and deal with. And in some situations, like if we're up against a life gain deck where they have a ton of life and we can't kill them with damage, being able to give Toxic 1 to all of our rats actually works as a pretty decent alternate win condition, because we do go so wide with 1/1 rats that we can just get through for enough and give them enough poison counters to just win the game, and it doesn't even matter how much life they have, which is really nice. We've also got 1 copy of Lord Skitter, because it can make a rat every single turn and also give us a little bit of utility, exiling stuff from our opponent's graveyard. We've got 1 copy of Overlord of the Balemurk. Even though it's not a rat, it can fill up our graveyard for Alesha and for the Marshstalker, while also being something on the battlefield that eventually becomes a creature that can get us even more value later. It dodges sweepers, all that stuff. If it could count as a rat, I'd probably play all 4. It's hard to fit more than 1 copy in, because we do need to keep our rat density as high as possible for the Karumonix, because the real value comes out of just completely refilling our hand pretty much with the Karumonix. But I still think it's worth messing around with and including a copy. In a similar fashion, we've got 1 copy of Song of Totentanz, because sometimes we can just come out of nowhere, make X rats that have haste that can swing in immediately, and that also count towards the Valley Rotcaller and the Persistent Marshstalker. So all of a sudden our Marshstalker's huge, our Rotcaller's just draining for a ton of life, and we can just win out of nowhere. So we are playing 1 cheeky Song of Totentanz, but again, we have to be very careful with how many non-rats we include, because the most important thing is making sure Karumonix always hits for an insane amount of card advantage. We're also running 4 copies of Rat Out. Even though this isn't technically a rat that Karumonix can find, it's too good to not run, because we get to kill anything with 1 toughness, especially with Llanowar Elves being in standard now, and we also get another rat token out of it as well, which can contribute to our rat count for all of the things that synergize with rats, even if it's just swinging with it to bring back a Marshstalker. At the top end, we do have a little bit of removal. In addition to the 4 rat outs, we've got 1 copy of Quag Feast and 1 copy of Pylon. Pylon being able to convoke and sometimes being able to be played for free at instant speed by tapping down our rat tokens, especially if we're in a situation where we can't attack with those rat tokens, but we can't block with them because the tokens don't have the ability to block. We can at least use them to convoke a Pylon and kill our opponent's big threat for free without really spending any mana. And also, it surveils too, so it helps put stuff in our graveyard that we need there for our other synergies. And then Quag Feast is the other new card, and honestly, I wish I could run 4 of this, There might be a version we play later on where we do run 4 of it because it's that good. For 2 mana, you get to kill any creature, planeswalker, or vehicle that has mana value equal to or lesser than the number of cards in your graveyard, but you also get to mill 2 cards while you do it. So this is a way for you to not only kill pretty much whatever you need to on curve, and pretty much whatever you need to later because this deck fills up its graveyard so quick, but it's a way to keep milling cards as early as turn 2 while still using removal. And I think that's what makes Quag Feast so good. Normally you have to choose one or the other. You're either playing something like Overlord of the Balemurk so that you can mill a bunch of stuff into your graveyard, or you have to play your 2 mana removal spell. Quag Feast lets you kind of do both at the same time. You don't have to slow down on your milling strategy very much to still remove a key threat. You can do it on curve. You can hit something big later on. I think it's great. I wish I could run 4, but again, Karumonix is just too good, and we have to stick with as many rats in the deck as possible to just make sure that Karumonix has the most potential as possible. And that's pretty much the deck. We are running 2 Soulstone Sanctuaries because they can be a rat if we're in a pinch. If we get board wiped or whatever, all of a sudden our Sanctuary is a rat, can swing in and bring back our Marshstalker, which can be really, really good. We also have 1 copy of 3 Tree City because sometimes we go so wide with rats that being able to just make a ton of black mana out of nowhere and play everything in our hand, especially after we just dropped a Karumonix and gassed up with a ton of stuff, just being able to play it all out in the same turn can be pretty wild. And then we just have like Surveil lands, Verges, they make sense for the deck, and we're also running 3 copies of Mudflat Village because it can get back any rat from our graveyard when we sack it. This can be really good in the mid to late game to just get us repeatable value later on, just get us the rats we need back so that we can keep getting card advantage and keep pressing the advantage to win, especially if we use it to get back a Karumonix. So deck's pretty cool. For the full rundown of the lands in the deck list, you can check out the description. Let's check out the games. Alright, we're going to keep this. Pumpkin's excited. She's excited. Can you blame her? Deck's been kind of bananas so far. Kind of bananas. Start with the cliffs, pass the turn, hold up the rat out. I will kill the Maverick if I need to. It's not my optimal choice. I would love to kill one of those hounds if he plays that. Molt Tender, even better. I would much rather have Molt Tender in the yard than the Maverick. Oh, baby. We doing it. We'll start with the Marshstalker, in case he has removal. Co-design cards with and for some of my close friends. That sounds awesome, Evelyn. Alright, so swinging for 1, we're passing the turn. Bialator. Bialator. Dredger's Insight. I see Urborg Repossession and Dredger's Insight in the same deck. I get a little worried. You sure you got enough creatures in that deck to support the theme, my friend? Guess we'll find out. I don't even think we attack with the Marshstalker. I don't really want to put the Maverick in the yard. Although, maybe we just gotta. Right? Maybe we just gotta. So that we can get our own Marshstalker into our graveyard and get his blockers out of the way and try to race him. Maybe that's important. Ivar. I'm assuming the Molt Tender's coming back to play. I could see him doing the Skoos instead. Oh, he's playing with Soul Cauldron, and he's hybridizing with having loot to exile with the Soul Cauldron. That's interesting. He doesn't have a blocker for the Rotcaller. So what we're gonna do this turn is just play all of our rats and swing at 𝐴𝐫𝐿. We get to kill 𝐴𝐫𝐿 and we get to drain for 4. And keep all of our rats there. And then next turn we can make a bunch of rats and probably just swing for lethal. It probably won't be lethal, but 3 rats with haste, drain for 7 is pretty good. He does have Bitter Triumph. Man, I can't help but feel like he's got too many non-creatures in there. Urborg Repossession, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, Insidious Roots, 𝐴𝐵𝐿, Bitter Triumph, Dredger's Insight. It's like the #1 mistake these decks make. In my opinion. Alright, he's got a 5/5. He's swinging. I mean, I'll race you. I'll race you, dude. You goober. Guess we'll Karumonix, hope to hit a 1-drop. Oh, we got 2 1-drops. Would you look at that? We definitely want the Engine Rat so that the Scoos can't attack. And we will smash and give him 4 poison counters. Man, next turn I think it's just over. All we gotta do is hit with 6 1/1s, and he's dead. We don't even need to do the 12 damage. Unless he kills the Karumonix. But Song can make 3 of them. So unless he gets out 2 more blockers, which I mean is possible. Nope, just gaining life. That's it, boys. We have won! Hold on, cancel. What do we have in the yard? Nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Greatness at any cost. He's like, it's only 10 damage. Correct. It is only 10 damage. But it's 9 poison counters, my friend. Good night. This hand is somewhat suboptimal. We'd much rather have a 1-drop rat on 1, but we do have the rat out. So depending on the deck that we're playing against, this could be a really good curve. But if it's anything that's somewhat control or ramp oriented, not being able to have an actual creature on 1 is going to be a bummer. But that's okay. We're going to keep it. We're going to try it. Wait until he casts the creature. Hopefully. Hey, there we go. I'll take it, man. Alright, so this was actually a really good turn 1 play. Pretty pumped about it. We'll get the Marshstalker out. Swing 1. Probably just gonna jam Karumonix on 3. Storm Chaser's Talent. Him playing blue, we want to do it while his blue is tapped down just in case he has counter spells. Trades with the Marshstalker, that's fine. We have 2 cards towards our threshold. Should be able to get there, though. We should be able to get there. Fear of isolation. Let me think for a minute. We could play 1-drops and then just convoke a pylon and kill the fear. I don't think that's worth it. Not yet, at least. Swing, see if he trades. Or, jumps, rather. We are definitely going to play Gnawing Vermin. Try to fill up the yard for our Marshstalker. Not bad. I think we'll go Linkbreaker. And end the turn and just hold up Pylon. Kill something with Pylon. Storm Chaser's talent, sure. He gets a 1/1 Otter. He ought to know that won't be enough. Carlos. Hey, what's up, Flush Donkey? Welcome to the stream. Ah, glorious nectar of the gods. Storm Chaser's talent again. Sure. Play your Pixie and try to bounce something. Well. We're gonna do this. How many cards we got in the yard? 4. So we probably just want both of those in the yard. And then we want to sack, I think, the Linkbreaker. If one of these was still a 1/1, I'd sack the Vermin so that we could kill it. And now we are at Threshold. We are, in fact, at Threshold. So we can do it like this. We'll just attack with the Mercenary, I think. Makes sense to me. We would rather lose a non-rat in combat than a rat. So it's better to attack with the Mercenary rather than use it to pump up one of our other cards. That won't always be the case, but I think for this situation it is. Alright, what you got, Pixie? What you got, Pixie? Bounce my token. Bounce Momentum Breaker. Sure. I guess we'll just dump the token. I would have dumped one of the actual rats. Oh, you know what? I should have played the Linkbreaker first. We would have hit for 1 more point of damage, and we would have had lethal. Oopsie. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. I got ahead of myself. I'm still a little tired. I got my morning coffee. Come on. Alright, this actually looks pretty good. We're going to keep this. We're going to start with the Blackcleave Cliffs and play a Gnawing Vermin. We want to start filling up the graveyard for the Marshstalker. Or potentially for Alesha. If we get that, if we get Alesha later. We are going to want to get that Marshstalker down. So let's swing first. If he kills the Marshstalker, it's kind of good for us. Alright, Marshstalker's in the yard. And we are only 4 cards away. Make that 3 cards away from being able to bring it back. Fortunately, we are flooding out a little bit. So this game might end up looking a little rough. Bandits talent. Well, goodbye lands. Goodbye lands. Goodbye lands. I guess we're gonna have to do our best to race. Although, I mean, he did put something in the yard, so we're closer to threshold. And we top decked our Alesha. Let's go! Let's go. Even if they kill the Alesha, that gives us enough things in the graveyard that if they also kill the Marshstalker comes back on its own. Oh no, he exiled it! But he didn't take out the Alesha. Like, that's dangerous. Alright, we're racing. We're keeping this in our hand, because if we can build up some extra cards in our hand to stay there and shut off his bandits talents, that could be good. I mean, sort of expect it to go away, but doesn't mean we shouldn't try. The fourth land is kind of unnecessary. Rotcaller for sure. We're gonna be taking 6. Make that 8. But I mean, we're also draining for a bunch. Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna keep this. We're going to start with probably a Gnawing Vermin. Unless he's playing some kind of crazy stompy deck where we feel like we need the Death Touch. Alright. Alesha in the yard. Well, the cat's out of the bag. Not you. You can stay in the bag. Swing with the Gnawing Vermin. Play the Rotcaller. Does he kill something here? I bet he does. And then he's going to be really sad. We will Alesha and bring it back. All the value. All the value in the world. Give it to me. Thank you very much. Show me your moves. Glissa. Well, Glissa is interesting. Glissa is interesting. Alesha can trade with her, but I don't think we want to do that. What I do think we want to do I mean, we're definitely going to pile on the Glissa. Right? We're definitely going to pile on the Glissa. The question is how we actually do it. I think we want to get a counter on Alesha. But if we don't, we could tap her. Oh, we'll do it like this. Pile on. Put a whole bunch of stuff in the yard. Get closer to threshold. Smash. Alright. You're at 12. We get back a Tangled Colony. That was really good. I kind of forgot about the Surveil 2 on the pylon. That thing does so much work. So much work. We already won. We are going to keep this. This actually looks pretty good. Is our opponent playing aggro? That's the question of the day. I think we can't take a chance and hold up rat out. We gotta just get the engine rat out there. Skibble, bop, and beeble. Well, engine rat's got death touch, which is nice. Goodbye, market gnome. Oh, alright. Well, we'll get the Rotcaller out there. Pass the turn. Next turn we got Rotcaller and holding up a rat out, potentially. Or hopefully whatever we top deck. More than likely whatever we top deck is going to be better. We need more rats for Rotcaller to be good. Alright. Hit for 1. Raucous Theater. Another Rotcaller? Good God. What is going on with all these Rotcallers? We need actual rats. We need actual rats. Okay, he's got a synthesizer. We got to do as much as we can, as quick as we can here. A Mudflat Village. Oof. Oof. We could get back another Rotcaller. We could get back another Rotcaller. Don't need to do that right now, though. Let's do this. Just make the other rat so that we can drain for a little bit more this turn and have another creature out. Save the other rat out. We're going to sack the Mudflat Village. If we had had one more mana, we would have just sacked the Mudflat Village now and played the Rotcaller this turn. But no matter what we do, we can't play it until next turn, so we're going to wait. Hold up the threat of interaction. Alright, he's got a 5/5. Attack me with your market gnome? You goober? Alright, Mudflat Village. Give me the thing. Give me the thing. Another rat out. What even is life, man? What even is life? Pass the turn. I mean, I do think we can possibly maybe just kill with our Rotcallers in one swing. Or maybe two. If he doesn't have 4 blockers, we can... one of them will survive and be able to attack again the next turn. Right? So we could theoretically get 3 Rotcaller triggers off before this game is over. Even if he blocks and kills our Rotcallers. Tempted to play the rat outs just to make the Rotcallers do more. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Just go wider. So we get more Rotcaller triggers. Play a Karumonix. Ooh, we're so close to just winning outright. Alright. Put a braided net, one of them. We will take everything. Thank you. Gnawing Vermin. Basically, if he wants to block and kill the menace guy, which he can, he has to let all of our other rats through. I think he has the flash 4-drop that makes a copy of an artifact or creature. And that's his plan, to make another construct. So he'll be able to block and kill the Rotcaller and block and kill one of these. Oh no, he had 3 steps ahead. Same basic principle. Just did it differently. Alright, so he's going to double block there. Block one of those. Take 3. Go to 4. We're at 29. We have 2 blockers. We would like to not block if we don't have to. He can tap down this Rotcaller, which is kind of a problem. But at the same time, like, just going wide with creatures might be enough. I don't know, we'll see. Is he going to attack? Is he going to attack? If he does, we don't block. We go down to 3. We need as many rats as possible. He's got 6 blockers. Nope. We will take it. Go to 16. Thank you very much. Soulstone Sanctuary. Well, we could hit him for 2. With the Engine Rat's ability. Gonna tap down our Rotcaller. If we can just hold up our 6 mana, we can win. Because we can pay 6 to make him lose 2 on his turn, and then as soon as he passes, we do it again on our turn and we win. The problem is we've only got 3 blockers, so if he alpha strikes, we die. Which means we can't really take that chance. So, Instead, we're going to do everything we can do. Just get out a bunch of blockers. Make life very hard for him. Be able to go potentially super wide with attackers next turn. Oh, you know what? We should have played the Lord Skitter before we attacked. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. I just wanted to get him to use up his braided net. That's all that was. He's got 5 attackers that all have lethal. We only have 5 blockers. And he's got braided nets. So he should just Alpha Strike for the win here. He has lethal unless he doesn't see the line. We shall see. No mercy. He's got to attack with everything. All 5 of them. Why is he hesitating? This is stressful for me, man. Attack me, bro. You attack with all 5. I got nothing I can do. He just doesn't realize it. Okay, now he realizes it. Now he realizes. Just couldn't get there. We were this close, man. We tried. We tried. Fabled Passage is kind of a bummer. But we can play 2 1-drops in a row and not feel super bad about it. So we'll keep this. Eternal Dream. Eternal Dream. Hello, Eternal Dream. Show me. Show me your dream, eternally. Gorehound. Well, we know what we're casting. Goodbye, Gorehound. There will be no surveilling for you, my friend. Maybe we'll get lucky and top deck a land. We could play the Marshstalker instead of the Linkbreaker. Deep Cavern Bat. If he was smart, he would take the Linkbreaker. But he is not smart. So he takes the Karumonix. That's fine. That's fine. We'll start racing. Essence Channeler. Ooh, we have a pylon. It's funny because we only have 1 Fabled Passage in the whole deck. And we kind of just keep getting it. Can't block. Can block. And makes a dude. Well, I think we're just gonna go for it for now. Alright, he'll trade. That's good for us. He gets a counter, but I mean, we get a Marshstalker that we can start bringing back pretty soon, probably. Deep Cavern Bat. What does he take this time? He's gonna have to take the Pylon, right? He's going to have to take the Pylon. Swings with the 2/2. Raucous Theater. We'll dump a Rotcaller. Do we play the Linkbreaker? Or do we just Song of Totes? I think maybe we just try to use the most mana as effectively as we can. So we'll do this. Swing for 6. The lifelink is making things difficult. But if we can top deck any of our value plays, I think we're okay. Hey, there's one. Lord Skitter. And we'll eat your Essence Channeler. And we will attack with all of the boys. If he blocks and kills our Tangled Colony, it's good for us. If he kills any of our rats, it's kind of good for us because we get to bring back the Marshstalker once we have 2 more cards in the yard. So, kind of want that. Let's eat the Gorehound. There will be no Raise the Past happening for you, my friend. None. None Raise the Past. Starscape Cleric. Sure. Oh man. This just got crazy. That gets us to 6 cards in the yard. Exile the Deep Cavern Bat. And then we can pile on. We can pile on just tapping our freaking these. Put them both in the yard because we're going to use Karumonix and those aren't rats and we can't grab them. Or we could just swing and bring back the Persistent Marshstalker right now. That might actually be better. Let's do that. Auto pay. That might just win us the game, honestly. 12 damage from that thing. Oh my god. Lights out. Guerrilla Radio. Good grief. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.